Adriane Mayes, AI Genius, live with Chef Rudy, crafting success beyond the kitchen. 15 years in the community. Adriane Mayes, AI Genius, CCC Because We Care Foundation, President. We're raising funds to support acts of kindness, wealth creation, travel experiences, and AI marketing education. CCC Because We Care Foundation, nonprofit, founded 15 years ago, September 11th, 2009. Four amazing women, Enyka Gaines, Adriane Mayes, Melissa Green, and Ayanna Thomas. We had a mission, empowering individuals and fostering a supportive community. So NFL Draft Detroit 2024, through acts of kindness, wealth creation, travel experiences, AI educational programs, CCC Because We Care Foundation, we're here and excited to talk soon with one of the best people that has dealt with our line this past weekend in Miami with our 17th Deltaversary, focusing on travel experiences. So since founded in 2009 in Detroit, Michigan, what up though, Detroit? Well, work and learning experience programs, travel experiences, holiday acts of kindness, just giving. The opportunities with CCC Because We Care Foundation and growing, with the NFL draft being available now, this is the time, and we are a part of the growth process. So as we grow, and as we build in 2024, what's going on in the NFL right now while everyone is graduating? So as you can see, we are getting the 29th pick. I have to go ahead and do my NFL draft coverage by Bud Light, as they're giving free access downtown that you can actually go ahead with your digital real estate and get on NFL.com/draft. And you're able to get access downtown with NFL One Pass app for free. Now, Rocket Mortgage is presenting this, and for 3 days downtown Detroit, NFL Ultimate Experience. So Detroit residents, visitors, there's almost 2 million people downtown. This is the time to get downtown and actually have a good time. So if you go to visitdetroit.com, there's some more actual opportunities for you to grow and build. So let's check out my guy that's here now. So let's bring onto the stage as we want to make sure that we do well. So let me introduce Chef Rudy, this amazing entrepreneur, professionally educated, award-winning culinary expert known for integrating fresh and innovative concepts. I mean, you hooked everybody up in Miami. We'll jump into that. But in order to create exquisite dining experiences, this man here, my bruh, Chef Rudy, he is the owner and operator of the Moody Foody by Chef Rudy, a mobile eatery, caterer, and one-of-a-kind food prep brand. So as owner and executive chef, we have the honor to talk to Chef Rudy today about his ownership of his company and being dedicated to giving each customer an experience in a world-class cuisine. I mean, mixed fusions. I checked out your website, your meal planning, your prep, your healthy, well-balanced alternatives. It lines, I mean, and then the Food Network. I mean, we're definitely going to get into that, throwing it up at the end. So Chef Rudy being on Chopped, being one of the most sought after chefs, almost any professional athlete, and being NFL Draft 2024, this is so key for you, my friend, and being developed. I mean, come on. My friends, I'm just looking forward to the conversation with this entrepreneur. So Chef Rudy, did I talk too much? Did I start off okay? Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely. You definitely did a good job. I appreciate it. I mean, warm welcome. Thank you. I truly appreciate it.
I mean, I just want to start honestly by thanking you for just the opportunity. I mean, Enyka Gaines, you know, the vice president with CCC, just told me about your expertise in the kitchen. Just kind of talk to us a little bit about your journey. I mean, what up though from Detroit, growing to be this millionaire and billionaire in making brand. Let's talk about how did you get where you are now, Chef?
Well, in all honesty, it started from Golightly and Career and Technical Center on the east side of Detroit, going to high school there, and just learning the principles and fundamentals of just cooking. I competed in the Vocational Industrial Clubs of America there. I was a national champion 2 years in a row. There, I was a national officer for the Vocational Industrial Clubs of America. I had an opportunity to attend Johnson & Wales University in Miami, Florida. Did that, but the journey started well before that. Probably at age 11 or 12, you know, my mom truly just put a fire under me that to just continue to burn. I truly wanted to learn as much as possible as far as food. I started learning where food grows, how it grows, and it just kept growing from there. And working with like really good restaurants, like I worked at Hockeytown, I worked at Andiamo's. It was a ton of different mentors that really paved the way for me. I got into the personal chef sector being here in Miami. I mean, this is a melting pot. And after graduating from Johnson Wales University, I actually took a job at Williams Island Country Club, where I was the first African-American chef to work at the country club in Aventura, Florida. And it continued to go. I never became complacent with whatever it was.
Amazing, my friend. I mean,
and it just kept growing. I
mean, just kept growing and growing. I mean, it honestly takes me back when I started working with my cousin Chris Bosch in Toronto. I was not a chef, okay, but I can cook, right? Like you said, you were in the kitchen with your mom, but before we knew the importance of investing in your health, on a serious note, like on a day-to-day basis, as you see these professional athletes, taking care of their body and using it as a vessel. Talk about a little bit how important it is. I mean, I understand saving money, going to get something quick when you're a professional athlete is every day. You have the billionaire mindset, that you have to take care of your body. So just investing in those meals every day, getting the proper care, and then too, just the safety as well. We talk about that too with the athletes. So, I mean, just talk a little bit about the experience of how important it is to have a relationship with a personal chef like yourself and growing your brand as well.
I think one of the biggest things that's missed, especially amongst young athletes, I think LeBron James and let's say Dwayne Wade, and you look at Kobe Bryant, they took health and the ability to have food nurture the body so that it fueled the body. I mean, you look at also you look at other athletes, whether it's Aaron Donald. I mean, you can look at from football, basketball, baseball. I work for Prince Fielder as well. I mean, you look at throughout all of your professional sports, you are what you eat. I mean, and that's even in our regular everyday lives. So whatever you're giving that athlete, it needs to be able to fuel that athlete, and it needs to work for them all the way down to the water, whether it's an alkaline water or spring water. Alkaline water, we know, extracts a lot of the acids from the blood. Well, when it extracts the acids from the blood, it increases more oxygen to the blood, which increases productivity. So knowing, like when an athlete, say, gets a sprained ankle, knowing what foods, okay, I need foods that are anti-inflammatory. So I need foods that are vitamin K. I need to, kind of tweak the diet so that it works for whatever it is. You got to ask the athlete what the goals are. The beauty I had early was working with the Miami Heat. They're one of the only teams in the association, the National Basketball Association, that tracks weight and body fat. They check weight and body fat every Friday. But you find that a lot of other teams are kind of tapping into that. But perfect example, when Victor Oladipo got hurt, the first person they called me. I mean, he's in Indiana, but they called me. Listen, he's hurt, he's injured, whatever. We need to keep his weight, his body fat here. We heard you're the guy to do it. So I was able to, form a really good relationship with them, really get him through his injury, and just really have foods, whether it's juicing, whether it's, because you get some players who like, look, I want to be a little more lean. I want to put on more weight. Whatever that is, you got to be able to work with your nutritionist. You got to be able to work with your dietitian. You get a bunch of people during COVID that swear up and down their chefs, and they're not can't really tell you exactly what that looks like. I mean, so I would tell parents, I would tell the athletes, if they're tuned in, you know what you're getting into, know the relationship that you're getting into, because the chef is extremely important. The chef will see that athlete before they go to sleep. The chef will see that athlete when they wake up. When they're on the road, that chef will, tap into the athlete as well. I mean, Bam Adebayo, perfect example. I worked with him for a number of years, and he would be on the road, and he would literally just take a picture of the menu and be like, chef, what should I be eating? And you got to know. It's no like, I don't know. Like, no, you need to know because you know what the goals are and what you guys are trying to achieve. So that's largely important.
I'm glad you brought that up with the menu. One of the things in Billie Jean's program was having a menu of services. Seriously, like when you can have customization, but having a menu where you have a 1 through 7 pinpoint, having your goals and objectives. So in bringing that up, an idea, like as an entrepreneur in your journey, what was kind of one of your travel experiences you can kind of share with us that kind of stands out that, as a chef and, being kind of in your state as an entrepreneur, just that travel experience that just, you worked with them, you prepared the best meal ever, what was that Chef Rudy? Wow, I know you got one now. I know it's in there.
I got a couple. In all honesty, I got a couple. I think one of the first would be with Prince Fielder. I took the job and he was based in Orlando. Okay. And then he was playing he had just got traded to the Texas Rangers. And we were in Orlando and it was some of his family there, but just all of a sudden, boom, you got to be up and ready to go. You always keep a bag packed as a private chef because at any moment you're traveling. Like, it's like, oh yeah, chef, we're wheels up at this time. And next thing you know, you're in a whole nother country or in a whole nother state. And you got to find the different resources that work for you within wherever you are. So you over time, you develop relationships with these different, whether it's a hotel, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's, a grocery store. But we flew to Dallas, Texas, and we hadn't been to Dallas. We literally went and did spring training in Surprise, Arizona, and we were literally flying straight to Dallas. Wow. For whatever reason, I didn't realize it was his birthday. Okay. And it was his birthday the next day. And, his wife came to me and was like, yeah, we got to do something really big. It's his 30th. I'm like, what? Like the day of. So mind you, we're moving everything into the house, and I'll tap into that too, because even as a chef, you play so many different roles. It's not just chef. You can't just, I'm the chef. That's it. Like sometimes you're the nanny. Sometimes you're the tutor. Sometimes you're the confidant. Sometimes you play so many different roles. And I think you're successful when you can play all of those roles successfully, but still maintain a level of professionalism at all times. But anyway, I had to put together this whole spread, ice carving, the crawfish, because he's originally from, his family has like that New Orleans, Louisiana tie or whatever. Okay. So I tapped into that and just laid out a full spread in like a matter of 4 hours. And it was like full menu, like the whole deal. And it was successful, but it was one of those things that was challenging. But then when you deal with a lot of athletes, you realize a lot of athletes have superstitions. If they play a good game and they may get a triple double or they hit 3 home runs the night before, they want that same meal that they ate the day before for the next 3-4 days because they feel like it has something to do with maybe the socks they wore, maybe the t-shirt they wore. I don't know. So you got to be able to tap into all of that and, just really be a listener at times. And sometimes it's things that you want to hear. Sometimes it's things you don't want to hear, but being able to have that level of integrity and that level of openness to be able to have the conversation with the mom, tap in with mom, tap in with the girlfriend, and sometimes those relationships are strained. Sometimes the mom don't feel like the girlfriend should be there. Like you have so many different elements in being a private chef, and you have to just stay neutral within it. Make sure that you're good. Listen. Only give your advice when it's asked. Not only are you giving your advice when it's asked, but you're giving sound advice. You're not giving advice when it's not asked. Like sometimes they don't want your advice because they're going to make whatever decision they want, but you can't let them be a detriment to themselves. You got to make sure that you're communicating and you have a level of respect, and that's earned. That's not something that's just given. Over time, you gain that with working with these athletes.
But see, the greatest thing too, though, and I'm so glad and thank you for sharing all that information, seriously, because the mindset of how the whole process goes. It's not just one label of you being a chef. I mean, it's not as simple as, just checking one box. You have to literally own who you are. And I literally talk a lot about designing your reality with having your faith, your family, your fitness, your finances, and your fears all in one. And though you literally touch base on all of those key things, but finances being a key thing with the entrepreneur. You're not working a typical 9 to 5. You don't have a regular schedule where you're getting up and you have people depending on you. Talk a little bit how important even automation or even just your word and acts of kindness of being nice to people, of saying and doing what you like, showing up today. Like, I really appreciate, seriously, we met Enyka Gaines, just you vetted me through her, and then it was literally just out of love, because not only, just finding out you as a Q and just our founders, just the educational piece.
For sure.
Just entrepreneurs, just knowing that we just have to help one another get to the next level, and just hearing everything about just the relationship. I just honestly want to thank you for just your time. Just
for sure.
But in the whole piece of that billionaire mindset that you have to own so many pieces, the trust factor, the family factor. Talk a little bit, like, what was the hardest thing about changing, the kind of change that you had to deal with in your family when you had to kind of break something in your business? Say you were dealing with a job and you had to break a deal and maybe kind of rift in your family. Kind of talk about, how did that journey go for you a little bit?
I think one of the biggest things is having a supportive cast as far as family is concerned, especially being a private chef. This is not one that's, it's not a job that you can have a person that's not understanding. You work long hours. Sometimes you're gone for 3, 4, 5 days, sometimes 7 days. On the 10-day road trips, you're gone for 10, 12 days because it's a 10-day road trip, but they play one day, off the next, play another day, off the next. Like, the West Coast trip, and even if you work with a player on the East Coast, you're gone for 10 days. With football, it's a little different, but I think the biggest strain within family is the lack of communication. Not being able to communicate. So you have to have that foundation in place, but something is still going to suffer. So you have to have a balance. You have to have people and say an athlete that can understand what your core values are, and they appreciate the importance of what family is to you. When you're first starting out, when I was working, for a perfect example, I was working for Prince. I would be able to fly home on the weekends. I would work, but then in the off season, I had a little more freedom. And during the season, it was just like boots to the ground, everything rocking and rolling. But when they did travel, I was off. So being able to have that flexibility to have those days off and be able to, just tap into the family and make sure that they're taken care of as well. One of the biggest things is a lot of athletes, and I know that there's moms that are listening, NBA, NFL moms that are listening, when the player goes on the road, the chef needs time off. Like, when the player goes on the road, his primary job is to make sure that the player is taken care of. And a lot of times you have girlfriends or wives where you don't get a chance to travel because they're like, oh, well, you're gone. Well, chef, I need you to do X, Y, Z, 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 Z. Then a kid comes along. Now you're making puree foods and you're doing all these foods for the kids, which is fine. But that work-life balance still has to play a part. We have to be sharp. We have to be on point. And it's always, I love the moms always, because the moms are always like, chef needs some days off. He hasn't had no days off. I would talk about one of my favorite moms would be Marilyn Blount, who was Bam Adebayo's mom. I have a great relationship with her to this day. I call her Ma. I talk to her probably once a week, and we have an amazing relationship. And that relationship has extended far beyond what I did for as far as work. Right. It's a true relationship. She calls me her son. I look at Bam, as my little brother, and that relationship just continues. You build those relationships. When you spend this type of time with people, it's just automatic. Sometimes you find them, some athletes at times, you find that parents and, sometimes the dads or the moms, they feel this type of competition with the chef, or say, for instance, maybe somebody that player confides in. Don't feel that. Your mom, your dad, you hold that special place. Like, you're there. I mean, that person just may be their listening ear and may know what to say to them when you don't know what to say. It's at times, I can look at a player when you're around them as much as we are around them, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then even sometimes after that, when they're having a bad day. Mm-hmm. So, Mom, you may be asking, like, well, when I'm taking my trip? You said you was giving me a trip. I'd be like, right now at the time. But moms will kind of communicate with me, and even if they can't reach the player, because a lot of times they'll be in the playoffs and the player may not be answering the phone. But like I said, we see them breakfast, lunch, dinner. You'll get the phone call from the agent. You'll get the phone call from Nike or Adidas. Listen, I've been trying to reach so-and-so, boom, boom, boom. Could you send this message? Okay. I know when to give the message. You may not know when to give the message because that message may not be received, but I know. So we talking and we may be chopping it up, and I'd be like, hey, by the way, I spoke to about, like, oh, when you talk to them? Oh, I talked to them the other day. They called and they were talking about this, that. So listen, it's a huge relationship. I say nurture that relationship, especially when you get a good chef and you get a good person around. It's very important that you vet those people that are around your children as well. So
I'm cracking up because I was remembering back in Toronto, Brad Livergant. When I tell you, I talk my way and just being nice to people, and just because you don't know what you don't know, but you want to be healthy. So he would hook up with breakfast, lunch, dinner, hook it up, pack it up, like you said, and everybody, like the whole team, like when the family would come up. And those were some of the best times of my life. Seriously, like when I think about COVID and the break of life, and I look at the before and after. When my cousin played professional for Toronto Raptors and went down to the Miami Heat, but I was there with him with the Toronto Raptors. And then Rod Jones, he played 6 seasons as the NFL. It's different teams. So seeing this billionaire vision, it's not for everybody, but the key thing, like with the athlete, when you reach the elite part of your job, like with the NFL draft being here in Detroit, I felt so inspired just to do something because, Detroit is such a great city. We're such grind. I mean, Lions almost got there. You know what I'm saying? We was close. You know what I'm saying? We almost always, we're just almost there. So
we got a lot closer this year than we have in a lot of years. I mean, I've been rooting for the Lions since the Barry Sanders days, so I get it.
Me too. You know what I mean? So, I was just on the edge of my seat. Enyka got a chance to go to the Super Bowl, like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's just the different travel experiences. So, I'm not going to take too much more of your time, my friend, because I truly appreciate it. But before you let us go, talk about what was your favorite travel location? Because you sneak by that one. What was your favorite travel location? Because, the luxury vacation spots, been to 48 out of 50 states. I love traveling. I've been to Japan. I've been to Spain. Looking at the 18 Black-owned luxury venues to kind of highlight our work and learning experience program, as well as different venues here in Detroit. So what is your one spot, that kind of stands out for Rudy? We may even highlight during the A&I learning experience program. So kind of give me one.
Turks and Caicos in the British West Indies.
Turks and Caicos.
Turks and Caicos. Turks and Caicos for me, I had an opportunity, to do an internship there when I was in culinary school, and then I had an opportunity to go back several times. But Turks and Caicos, but I did an internship in a part of the island that is very exclusive. It's called Pine Key or Big Pine Key, and people all they know is Provo, Providenciales. That's all they know. Or when people come in on boat, they know Middle Caicos. But they have the island in itself is a beautiful island. I was able to tap into all of the island: North Caicos, South Caicos, Middle Caicos. If you get an opportunity to go to Provo, make sure you go to Leeward Docks. Make sure you go to Turtle Cove.
No, Rudy, don't be trying to get rid of me, bro. We're in now. You're telling me where I have not been. So okay,
it was an awesome experience. It was an awesome experience. You're treated. You're at home when you go there. So it's like the second home for me. I love it. It to this day, it's still one of those destinations where it's just like at the highest level for me. The
Nice.
people, the food, I mean, the seafood is some of the clearest beaches that you will ever see. So if I have to think of one place that stands out to me to this day, it would definitely be Turks and Caicos.
Love it. Thank you so much for that. So wrap up with this question here, my friend. I thank you for all your insight, honestly, just on your experience, on your journey, taking your time to just today. But if you could wrap up, like if you had to on your journey, like if you were talking to someone that was kind of coming right behind you, what's some insights that you would honestly share to kind of, if you had to catch somebody before they fall type thing, you know, kind of prevent them from doing what you need to do in any of the areas of growth?
I'm gonna
What would
tell
you
you
share?
from stages, I would say if you're in middle school, high school, and you're watching, I would say study food. Study, like I said, the principles and the fundamentals of food, study where food grows, study how it grows, study the soil that it grows in, the climate that it grows in, because the better you know about the food and how it grows, you better understand the chemistry aspect of how to incorporate that to other foods. Understand, and now the high school me would also say, get as much experience as possible, work in restaurants, whether it's the Cheesecake Factory, whether it's Grand Lux, whether it's whatever is fast paced. And I said those two because I've worked in those in a management capacity and a development capacity. But those restaurants do things from scratch. Everything is fresh and it's fast paced. So you need to be able to know fast pace. You need to be able to know food. You need to be able to know from the financial aspect. So whatever job you get, look at that job. So if you're, oh, I'm a prep cook. Well, understand the prep, but understand why, ask the questions why, but also understand portion control, also understand labor control, also understand the cost control. So when you can understand labor and you can understand cost of what you're paying for an item, so labor versus sales will give you your food costs. So once you can understand food costs, you can be successful in this industry. If you can't understand food costs, you're wasting your time. So I would tell people to tap into that. And the college me would definitely say exposure, exposure, exposure. Expose yourself to as many of the clubs and organizations possible. The professional version of me would say relationships, relationships, relationships. Bridge those relationships, bridge gaps within those relationships, continue to develop overall, and continue to move forward productively. I think that, you know, continually building on who you are as a person and constantly redefining different pieces of you within this industry is huge. If you stay stagnant within this industry, it'll pass you by. There's things that we used to do 5 years ago that we don't do anymore, that we're doing something totally different. So, you know, staying abreast of what's going on, staying on top of what's new, what's trending, what's not, constantly reading, constantly staying in touch with what the new thing is, but never losing the principles and fundamentals and never losing the classical, like your mother sauces. I would tell a kid that's in elementary or middle school, learn your mother sauces. You learn the 5 mother sauces, you will learn 1,000 sauces from that, because every sauce is derived from one of those mother sauces. Learn your measurements. So those are things that when I talk to, you know, kids, oh, I want to be a chef. I'm like, okay, what are you doing every day to achieve the goal that you have set for yourself? If you have even set it. Mm-hmm. So you got to be doing something every day to achieve a goal. So if you say, I want to be a chef, and you're not studying food and you're not cooking and you're not doing anything to be a chef, then you don't really want to be a chef. It's just a thought. It's just in your mind that that's what you want. You may just want to wear the chef coat. You probably don't want to be
right.
And I always tell parents, if they're going to invest in their kid going to culinary school, or because it's an awesome, very rewarding career, and there's so many different avenues that you can go to now within our industry. I tell parents, don't waste your money. Send your kid to work for somewhere and make sure they're working every day to where their feet are burning, because
Right.
those are the days that they're going to see. Those 10, 12, 16-hour days, that's what's normal. When you
Right.
get on this side, the private sector, and you're, I'm the executive chef, it's a little bit different. But before that, you got to pay your dues.
You gotta pay your
Trust
dues,
me.
right? You gotta pay your dues. You gotta pay your dues. So what are you working on right now? And what's future Rudy look like? Like, what is the end goal look like? I have this billionaire in the making vision for CCC Because We Care Foundation, and what we're working on with our AI, because the future is AI is here. So in your future vision, what's future Rudy look like? And what are you working on now to get, like you said, you gotta be on a consistent plan. So what's that consistent? I'm throwing it back at you. See how that works.
So one of the projects that I'm actively working on, I'm continuously working on the food truck. The food truck is continuously does well. We're in a new market now. We were in a more southern market. We're now in even more southern because we're now in South Florida. So just continuing to build that brand within the food truck arena, but also in our catering arena. We've just did a partnership with the correctional facility where we're feeding their staff, and we're doing something with Nova Southeastern University as well. So just tapping into different markets within the food. So you're not just working a food truck, you're actually doing events, because you got a full kitchen on wheels. I mean, that's unheard of. But one of the projects that I'm truly working on daily is trying to find a facility to have food trucks be able to park, not to sell food, but to be able to be serviced, to be able to keep their electric plugged in and different things like that. So I don't want to talk too much about it, but that's kind of along the lines. I want a food truck hub where food trucks can come and be serviced and be taken care of in its full capacity. There's a lack of it throughout the country, and it's something that I want to tap into, and something
I love it. I look like the Tesla of the food trucks. You know how they have the plugging station. Seriously. So just getting a different hub. Look at it. Yeah, little engineer over here. So I love it, Rudy. So final words. I mean, anything that you would like to say, honestly, because one of the things that we're doing with our foundation is giving mothers of NFL as well as NBA just 60 seconds to share a moment how they would change the world. So if you had 60 seconds, how would you change the world? If you could make that change, anything.
I think the biggest thing, if I could change the world, I would tell people to live their creed. Be who you say you are, live with integrity, have a level of transparency with people, do business the right way, lift as you climb always, and continue to develop the youth behind us, because they're the future and they're the ones that are going to continue to propel this thing to the next level. But lift as you climb, and like I said, live your creed is something I live by. So
I'll be remiss if I don't have Jonathan. Where'd you pledge? Talk about. I got to talk about. Make it say 5. Let's high five real quick before I don't want to get in trouble. Where'd you?
No, it's all good. I went to Johnson & Wales University here in Miami, North Miami, Florida. I'm pledged fall 02. I'm an active member of Zeta New chapter. Very active. I actually just had a meeting yesterday for our Constitution and Bylaws committee. So I sit on a number of committees. I was the former vice president of the chapter. We chartered a brand new chapter here in Miami, and I was a part of the inception of that and being a part of that whole thing. So I'm an active member. We're going to have our national convention in June in Tampa, Florida. But I am the bruh. So if there's any Omegas that are tuned in, if you come to me, make sure you have done your research and you know what you're talking about before you talk, because I am that bruh. And I think any of the bruhs that's listening understand what I'm saying. I'm him.
Enyka and I was just talking about that, like the order. But you're that guy, huh? You're that guy.
I enjoy reading. I enjoy history. You have to know where you came from in order to know where you're going. And it's something that we instill in our child. You know, like I have a daughter who's 15 who is exceptionally smart. And we have banter back and forth constantly. But, you know, she keeps me on my toes because she's going to do her research. She's not going to come to you with any information that she hasn't researched already. So whatever she's asking you, she probably know the answer to already. So it's one of those things, like, do your research before you talk to me.
So what do you know about ChatGPT, if anything? We on the Detroit ChatGPT revolution. I'm the captain, you know, so I mean, just talking about research. Do you use ChatGPT at all, or do you?
I haven't. Like now, my daughter, they tap into it a lot. I haven't tapped into ChatGPT outside of I had a contract, and I literally took the contract and put it into ChatGPT, and I was just looking to see if there was any gaps within the contract. How could I get out of the contract? What were the parameters of the contract? It literally saved me probably $1,000 because I didn't have to have an attorney look over this document that they would have said took, I don't know how many hours. It literally went through and basically let me know that, well, you could back out of this contract within the next 60 days and you're good. So
right.
That's the only time that I can truly say that I've tapped into it where it, you know, I've used it, but it was definitely beneficial. And I got that information from one of my frat brothers who put me on. He swears by it.
Well, that's what we're doing too with marketing. And like I was talking about that menu of services, because automation AI is here, just having some type of delivery service. So we'll be following up just to have that automation, and that's what we're teaching too in our program. So what the whole key thing is, Chef, you actually gave that health and fitness. That's week 7. And just literally every day, working from home, just all day, every day, just being healthy. Thank you so much. Just for your time, just launching this whole NFL draft, Detroit, just launching with CCC Because We Care Foundation. And again, this is the beginning, my friend, because again, once I have the program invested and funded, I'll reach back out to you in regards to a funded position, in regards to just because the love and reciprocation, that's how we grow with each other.
Absolutely.
So I thank you, and thank you.
For sure. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And for all the moms that are listening, and all the maybe the new moms that have sons that will be drafted this weekend, make sure you keep the circle as small as possible. Make sure they don't go out and make any type of frivolous purchases like houses or anything like that. They should be buying those type of things within their second contract, not the first contract. Just make sure they're being good stewards of the blessings that they have. The mothers that are NFL or NBA moms, God bless you. You've definitely been able to provide a very beautiful life for me and for a number of chefs that I've helped to employ, working for different athletes all over the country. And if you need chef services, my name is Chef Rudy Poindexter. I'm with Moody, Moody, Foody, FL. You can reach me there, or you can also reach me at 305-713-8394. 305-713-8394. And Moody Foody FL is on Instagram. You can reach me there. And I love the chat. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Adriane Mayes, wrapping up president with CCC Because We Care Foundation, with the amazing opportunity with Chef Rudy. Again, have an amazing evening, and thank you for your time. And I look forward to growing with you in this year of change. Okay. I can, I will, I must. That's kind of the thing we say before we end. So
I can, I will, I must.
Let's go. Let's go.
There we go. For sure. I love the energy. For sure.
Thanks, bro. Have a good evening.
Thank you. All right.
So that was fun, right? That was amazing. So I don't even know how to end, but what I'm going to do is make sure that everyone knows, thank you for tuning in live with Adriane Mayes and Chef Rudy, crafting success beyond the kitchen, engaging conversation, building up for the AI Accelerator work and learning experience program. Don't hesitate to go head over to cccwecare.com. Get more information about the AI Accelerator program. As reaching out, that's the next step. Billie Jean's program, learning how to do advertising and taking it to the next level. things that Chef Rudy talked about, you know, the different events, the local locations. These are things that can be done with the menu of services with Adriane Mayes, AI Genius. So these are the things that are going to be taught in the work and learning experience program, customizing and becoming your own bespoke brand. And with the NFL draft being in Detroit 2024, just knowing Rod Jones being, like I said, 6 seasons in the NFL and going to the combine last year, seeing Jalen Graham from Cass Tech and San Francisco 49er, I mean, Super Bowl winner, let's not even forget. But the way that the opportunities are available for us now online are just like being in the NFL, but we got to work for them. It's not going to be handed to you. No one goes anywhere and gets anything handed to them, but you have an opportunity with yourself online. So with the work and learning experience program, these are some things they're going to teach you and engage with you and grow with you. And like I said, have an amazing evening. Thank you so much for thinking different. Bespoke Billionaire, Adriane Mayes, AI Genius. I can, I will, I must. Let's go. Deuces. What up, though, Detroit?